Hello people, in this video we want to look at endometriosis. Endometriosis actually happens in younger women. Adenomyosis happens in older women. Okay, so just remember we are looking at the young woman problem, endometriosis. So guys, we are looking at endometriosis. So basically what is the definition? So basically you can see here, this is the endometrium, right? So endometrium is here. So basically this endometrium has glands and stroma, etc. In case these glands and stroma are found outside of the uterus, like here, you can see. So all this will become endometriosis. So where are they? Outside the uterus, remember. Where are they? Outside the uterus. That is the definition. So coming back to the textbook here, you can see the functioning endometrium, that is the glands and the stroma, is present in sites which are other than the uterine mucosa is endometriosis. This is not a neoplastic condition, but there can be malignant transformation. But there is this another terminology called as adenomyosis, which you will have to understand. So basically what happens is, if it is outside of the uterus, it is endometriosis. You can see here, right? Outside of the uterus, it is endometriosis. But what happens if it is within the myometrium, right, within the uterus, but no, it's still in the wrong place? That will be called as adenomyosis or endometriosis interna. Okay, so this is endometriosis, but it's within the uterus. That will become endometriosis interna or adenomyosis. But in this, what are we looking at in this video? In this video, we're looking at the things which are deposited outside of the uterus. So endometriosis, we're looking only at endometriosis. Okay. Guys, did you understand this concept? So we are looking at what in this video? We are looking at endometriosis externa, or we simply call it as endometriosis. Okay. So these things which are there outside, right, these glands which are present outside of the uterus, right, they are benign, but they are locally invasive. What happens is these keep on growing. Okay. Especially when there is cyclic hormone therapy, these keep on growing. If there is continuous hormone therapy, they don't grow. So you can understand this, the cyclic hormones stimulate the growth, okay, of these endometriosis, okay, ectopic endometrial tissue. So basically they are saying this because of lifestyle change, now the prevalence is increasing. As usual, they try to blame women for all this. And then diagnostic laparoscopy also they are blaming, okay. Don't listen to all these people, guys. Live the life the way you want it. So where and all can you find this endometrial tissue, ectopic? In the abdomen, you can find extra abdominal also, remote also. Wow, it's going so far, wherever it wants, it's going. Abdominal, it can occur at any site, okay, confined to the abdominal structures, okay. Extra abdominal can be where? Vagina, cervix, is it? Okay. So look at the site of endometriosis, which they have mentioned in this table. Common sites, we will look at only the common sites. Don't look at the rare ones. Ovaries you look at, okay. Pouch of Douglas, very commonly they have mentioned. Pelvic peritoneum, appendix, fallopian tubes, we like that one, we'll take that one. Then what else do you want to mention? Okay, so these are the common sites, okay. Coming to pathogenesis, why exactly does this happen? There is retrograde menstruation. This is called as Sampson's theory. So basically what happens in menstruation, from the uterus you're getting out the blood, right? But there can be retrograde, that is in the backward direction there can be menstruation, okay. Retrograde flow of menstrual blood through the uterine tubes during menstruation, that is the fallopian tube, right? Through this the blood is going, right, retrograde, right, and the endometrial fragments, they get implanted in the peritoneal surfaces of the pelvic organs, example the ovaries, the uterosacral ligaments, etc. Okay, and then what happens in those places, it tries to shed, okay, wherever it went. So retrograde flow of what? Of the menstrual blood, through which you get also the endometrial fragments are going, right? How are they going? Through the tube. Which tube? Uterine tubes, okay. And then there it will deposit where? On the ovaries, etc. Subsequently, the cyclic growth and shedding of the endometrium at the ectopic sites occur. So because of cyclic hormones, we told you at these places this will proliferate and they also shed, okay. How's it going, people? So did you understand that these are the there is retrograde flow, right, via these uterine tubes. There's retrograde flow of the blood and endometrial fragments. These deposit here. There is cyclic growth and then shedding also happens. Some people say that this is not a true theory. This is one of the theory. What theory is this? Wilson's theory. Some people are not ready to agree to this. Some people say it is some genetic factor or some something is there which helps in implantation of all this tissue and growth, etc. Okay. Then, though this retrograde, okay, so what is this retrograde flow? Retrograde flow can explain why it goes this way and it is sitting here. But retrograde flow cannot explain why it is going so remotely somewhere else. That it cannot explain, right? So they are not ready to buy this theory totally. One of the theories this is. Now let's go to the other theory, Mayer and Ivanov's theory. So this is coelomic metaplasia. What is metaplasia, guys? Metaplasia means it is changing, right? What is metaplasia? Metaplasia means something will become something else, right? So if there is some squamous epithelium, it can become columnar, that will become columnar metaplasia. If there's columnar, it can become squamous, that will be squamous metaplasia, right? So metaplasia is where it changes shape kind of a thing, right? And that will be a temporary, mostly a temporary situation. So what they are saying is because of some irritation of the pelvic peritoneum, metaplasia can occur, or the Mullerian tissue remnants may be trapped within the peritoneum. So they undergo metaplasia and get transformed into the endometrium. So what they are doing is these some tissue remnants, they're getting trapped within the peritoneum and they are becoming this endometrial glands, stroma kind of a tissue. They are becoming endometrium. So they have undergone metaplasia. This is what theory? Mayer and Ivanov theory. Okay, Ivanov theory. Metaplasia. Okay, coelomic metaplasia. Obviously, this concept can explain to us why remotely it is going, isn't it? So, you understood two theories. Okay, now what are these theories to explain endometriosis at different sites? You have so many theories. Retrograde menstruation and coelomic metaplasia you saw more than enough, right? Do you want to go elsewhere and look at all the theories? No. Okay, so basically what were the two theories? One is retrogradely it will go and it will deposit somewhere, grow and proliferate. The other thing is something which was there here that itself transformed into the endometrial tissue. Okay, one is it only went. Another thing is whatever was there in its own place has changed into the endometrial tissue. Okay, now what is this direct implantation? There are some theories: direct implantation theory, lymphatic theory of some Halban theory, vascular theory, genetic and immunologic factors, they are telling, environment theory, they are telling. So many theories are there, but they still don't know what the cause is, right? They're still guessing. So direct implantation is when these get implanted into new sites, they will start growing there. So there's some direct implantation. If you want, you can remember this theory. Okay. Lymphatic theory, some Halban theory. Here they're talking about metastasis. They're not talking about metaplasia. So something is moving and going somewhere, isn't it? So via lymphatic channels, it is draining and it is going elsewhere. So this is explaining the lymph node involvement, Halban. Remember here it is not metaplasia, they're talking about metastasis. Okay, metastasis is what you see in kind of malignancy. That concept you know, right? We're not talking about cancer here, but what I'm telling you is metastasis. Metastasis means it is going from one place to the other, right? That is metastasis, not metaplasia. Vascular theory, again, what is this? So it goes via the blood, does it? Looks like. Okay. So one, they had to explain via lymph. Now they are explaining via blood something. Okay. Genetic and immunologic factors you will have to tell. As usual, for everything you will blame this. As usual, we will blame lifestyle and environment. Environment, you will talk about pollutants, etc. They're trying to talk about that. So why blame yourself, people? You can blame the environment also. So not just blame women and lifestyle and delayed marriage and all that. You can blame environment and genetics also. Okay. Still, what and all is there, you know, guys? Pathology is there. Clinical features is there. Diagnosis is there. And after diagnosis, what will you do? Very good. Okay, they are giving differential diagnosis and then they will come to complications. Finally, they're talking about treatment of endometriosis. Okay, guys, so we have to look at a lot. Look at this, guys, the appearance of pelvic endometriosis. So pelvic endometriosis means if it's ovary, etc., it will be because of retrograde, and if it's peritoneum, pelvic peritoneum, then it will be because of metaplasia, right? So appearance of pelvic endometriosis, but here they are indicating everything: ovary and uterosacral ligaments and also the peritoneum, right? So basically here they are showing you everything via retrograde spread and via the metaplasia. Guys, there is so much to endometriosis, but we'll just glance through. Okay, pathology basically, there's something called a chocolate cyst. Okay, you should know this word, which can rupture as a complication. Fallopian tubes will remain patent. Okay, so basically, where is this chocolate cyst? If the cyst enlarges with cyclic bleeding, serum is absorbed. Okay, it becomes chocolate colored. So it's chocolate cyst. It is commonly seen where? In the ovary. What will be the clinical features for these people? Pain, menstruation pain. So actually it will start before the menstruation, few days before the menstruation, progressively increasing. Secondary dysmenorrhea, abnormal menstruation they can have, infertility they can have dyspareunia. What is dyspareunia? Painful intercourse, is it? That's right. And usually this will be deep, okay? This will be because of stretching of the structure of the pouch of Douglas or any direct contact tenderness, okay? We're not going to the details. Then there can be chronic pelvic pain. Obviously, you have understood a lot of the endometrial tissue has deposited in the pelvic area. So pelvic pain, abdominal pain, etc. Then they're talking about the investigations you will do, and then they're talking about the diagnosis, what and all serum marker you will see in these people. CA125. Monocytes chemotactic protein MCP1 level is increased in the peritoneal fluid in women with endometriosis. Then you will do ultrasonography, but can you see much? Not very useful, so we leave that. MRI is a diagnostic tool. CT is also better than ultrasound, so looks like they like CT. Okay. Basically, laparoscopy is the gold standard. That too, double puncture laparoscopy by laparotomy. This is gold standard. They are saying that you can find out that there's endometriosis, guys. Focus. Here there is an image of the laparoscopic view of the pelvic endometriosis. Left side they are saying there is endometriotic implants, and right side there is chocolate cyst. Okay. So basically, laparoscopy will help you in finding the actual cause, right? If it is endometriosis. Differentials you should see. We're talking about differentials. So basically, one of the differential they are saying is there's some chronic pelvic infection which can mimic this situation. As you know, guys, we're just looking at the headings, right? We're looking at very superficially at this. So now look at this. Complication of endometriosis. Basically, you can see that there can be rupture of this chocolate cyst, there can be infection of the chocolate cyst, etc. So these people can have infertility because of endocrinopathy. Then obstruction can happen of what? See, they told that the fallopian tube will be still patent, but here they're talking about obstruction of the intestine, ureteral obstruction. Look at this. It is affecting your bowel and bladder. Okay. Malignancy is rare. The commonest one being adenoacanthoma. So basically they said that this is benign condition, locally invasive, but it can have malignant transformations, which is rare. So we'll not highlight this. It's very rare. Okay. Then what are the endocrinopathies that can happen because of endometriosis, because of which the person can go into infertility? So the endocrinopathies that can happen because of endometriosis would be the corpus luteum insufficiency, luteolysis, luteinized unruptured follicle, and ovulation. So this work, some of these can lead to infertility. Obviously, elevated prolactin level, double LH peak. Okay. What will happen if there's elevated prolactin? Prolactin helps in making the milk, right? So what exactly will happen in these people? Okay, let us look at the staging. You can also stage endometriosis. Looks like nice, right? You can stage endometriosis, guys. Wake up. What are we looking at? Endometriosis. Okay, endometriosis. Now let's look at endometriosis. Okay, staging. So you can by staging, what will you do? How will you do all this? By laparoscopy. Laparoscopy, they love in this. You will predict the prognosis. You can choose the correct therapy. You can choose the treatment, etc. What am I seeing? So where exactly is the staging, guys? Here, see, in this table, they have given the scoring. So basically, endometriosis, superficial or deep, and what is the size? Less than 1 centimeter, greater than 3 centimeter. Partial, complete, obliteration, adhesion. How are the adhesions to the ovary, to the tube? Is it filmy, dense, right and left, everything together? They'll give some nice stage, and based on that, you will decide the prognosis, the treatment, and the therapy, right? Same thing, treatment, therapy. predict the prognosis, right? You will choose which therapy. Okay, you choose this therapy and then you will give the treatment. Okay. Basically, there are 4 stages, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Time has come now to look at the treatment of what endometriosis. So basically, treatment they're talking about preventive and curative. And curative they're talking about medical and surgical also. Okay. So basically, it is treated as a progressive disease. So these people will have a lot of recurrence. It is retrograde menstrual flow means what? Every time there's menstruation, it will go retrograde and it will deposit. So basically, how much can you treat? Let's see. So basically, prevention. Can you prevent this at all? So basically, what they're saying is, don't do any tubal patency test. Don't go and check whether the tube is patent, etc. during this time of menstruation and curettage, because you know it can go retrograde, isn't it? And also, forcible pelvic exam you should not do after menstruation, because when you press, what will happen again? You will be inducing a retrograde flow, looks like, isn't it? Our understanding. And one of the prevention they are saying is give advice to women on all this, guys. You can read it yourself, but I personally don't want to say all that. Okay. Then coming to curative. Okay, so we finished preventive. Now we'll come to curative. How will you cure this? So cure, you'll have to, if that person has a pain and all that, you'll have to reduce that. If the person has infertility, you'll have to treat that. Then you'll have to prevent recurrence, isn't it? So let's see what they want to do. For pelvic endometriosis, expectant management where you observe, medical therapy where you give hormones and others, surgery you can do conservative or definitive surgery, combined therapy where you give medical and surgical. Okay, so there are so many options. Let's look at this. So based on the age of the patient, the extent of the lesions, the size of the lesions, the severity, the location, the fertility factor, basically the age, right, will determine, and how previous therapies have gone, if there is recurrence, all that will determine the treatment. So treatment here itself, they are giving, not just giving you treatment as 1, 2, 3, 4. Here they are telling it as it's a wholesome thing, you know, where you have to consider everything and then decide the treatment. For what? For endometriosis. Here, guys, in treatment, they're talking about something called as expectant treatment. What is expectant treatment? Basically, you want to avoid problems that may be caused by the treatment. So if there's minimal endometriosis, or if they are ready to start family, if they are already approaching menopause, right, what is the point of giving all these treatments, right? Or if they are unmarried. So basically, they are trying to avoid the problems of the treatment. Understood, right? Okay. So what will you do in this case? You will give NSAIDs, right, just to relieve pain. Then, so basically they're talking about ibuprofen or mefenamic acid. So if they are married, you will ask them to get pregnant, because a pregnancy will stop the period, so there won't be menstruation, so there won't be any retrograde menstruation. So there'll be no endometriosis, right? Then coming to hormonal treatment, you will induce atrophy of the endometriotic implants. Guys, focus here. So what are they trying to do here? They're going to induce atrophy of the endometriotic implants. Means what? It should be considered suppressive. So basically, whatever has deposited those implants, they want to atrophy it, is it? So basically, they are going to give combined oral contraceptive pills, combined oral pills. So basically, what they will do, they will produce pseudo pregnancy, right? So the patient, the body will think that it is pregnant. So they are trying to make sure that these people don't get periods, or they will try to induce a pseudo menopause with danazol, or they will give GnRH agonists and they will create a situation like oophorectomy, medical oophorectomy. So understand this. So they are just trying to create a situation where the body thinks it is pregnant, or it thinks that it is in menopause, right? Or it thinks that there has been a oophorectomy. So they are trying to give combined oral pills, danazol or GnRH agonists. So did you understand the concept, guys? So what are we looking at? Endometriosis, right? So as endometriosis treatment in hormonal therapy, they are talking about 3 things. One is you make the body think it is pregnant, or you think that it is in menopause, or you make the body behave like it has no ovaries, oophorectomy, right? So they are talking about combined oral pills, danazol or GnRH agonists. So basically, they are talking in detail about each one, where we are not looking at so much. Estrogen, progesterone, you will give combined. And see, this is low dose, okay, and they are giving in cyclic or continuous fashion. See, these people should not go in get periods, you remember. So normally in contraceptive pills, you'll have 7 days of bleeding, right? But that won't be there here, looks like. So these people will have amenorrhoea. They will not have periods, and the pain also will be less. It will that anastrozole is found to reduce the growth and pain of endometriosis. Are you focusing, guys? So basically, these people will go into a situation where the body thinks it's pregnant. There will be no periods, right? Remember, here there is no periods. This is not the same contraceptive pills where you're giving where 21 days plus 7 days of the iron tablets. No, it's not that. It is only this part of it which they are giving. Okay, cyclically they are giving so that there is no periods. There's going to be amenorrhoea, and also there will be relief of dysmenorrhea. This anastrozole will reduce the growth and pain of endometriosis, okay, which is nice. Then progesterones also you are giving because it's a combined pill. Decidualization is more like preparation for the pregnancy, isn't it? Guys, when they are talking about oral contraceptive pills, they always will talk about IUCD. What is this? Intrauterine contraceptive device also they are talking about. You can look at this. Then danazol, important. You understood that danazol will do what? It will menopause like situation, right? So menopause like situation that you have understood, right? So what is the third option they told after oral contraceptive pills and danazol? GnRH analogs, right? So what happens here with GnRH analogs? Let's see. Again, here there is a situation like medical oophorectomy. There is a situation like oophorectomy. So this is medical oophorectomy. Again, that will be amenorrhoea, right? So you will maintain reduced level of serum estrogen so that you will suppress the growth of endometriosis. Same thing, atrophy of endometrium, endometrial, same plan. Look at this table, guys, where they're talking about the hormones used in endometriosis. They're talking about combined estrogen progesterone pill or only progesterone pill. Okay, and IUCD basically. And then they're talking about danazol or GnRH analogs. Gestrinone is something like danazol. It also induces pseudo-menopause, they've written here. The first one, what you saw, progesterone and oral pill will give pseudo-pregnancy. This will give danazol and gestrinone will give pseudo-menopause kind of situation. GnRH analogs will give medical oophorectomy. Okay. Should you know the examples of this GnRH analogs? Like nefirelin, gosirelin, leuprolide. Anyways, recurrence can happen. That much you should understand. 40% of the people. Wow. Okay, now let's move on to the surgical management. Guys, did you understand what the problem is with this endometriosis recurrence? Okay, and what did you want to do? How you wanted to achieve a situation like where there's no periods. Okay, amenorrhoea you wanted to achieve. So as make the person feel like the body is pregnant, they will not have menstruation, or you make them feel like the body is in menopause, so they will not have menstruation, or you just make it look like an oophorectomy, so they will not have menstruation. That's the whole intention. Now, surgical management, what will you do? What exactly are you trying to do? If there are some endometriomas which are greater than 1 centimeter, you can try, right? You're trying to remove them, looks like. Conservative surgery. Wow, there is something called as conservative surgery also. Destroy the lesions. Okay. So you will destroy the lesions and you will improve the symptoms of the person. And you will also preserve the reproductive function. So this is conservative surgery. You can do laparoscopy. Okay, that is coming under this conservative surgery. So what are they trying to do here? Ablation. They're trying to ablate and they're trying to remove some adhesions. Adhesiolysis. Okay. So what and all they are using here? Laser, electroradiotherapy for ablation. Ablation by electroradiotherapy, or you just excise these, or you do laser vaporization. Okay. So all these you can do. Did I confuse you? So basically you can destroy these lesions by excision or by ablation, by radiotherapy, electroradiotherapy, or by laser vaporization. So basically what are you doing here? Ablation plus adhesiolysis. So basically whatever is there here, you're trying to just remove them. This is conservative. By laparoscopy you're doing. You're not trying to, you're trying to preserve the reproductive state of the person. You're just trying to relieve the symptoms. Okay. Guys, the textbook covers ovarian endometriomas as a separate situation. Okay, so look at this. Here they are showing you ovarian endometrioma color Doppler scan. Okay, chocolate cyst. So this is one of the conditions that you will see in endometriosis, right? So a ovarian endometrioma or a chocolate cyst is something that you see in endometriosis. So specifically they are dealing this point in a different section. So we will cover this in a different video. Okay. If you need to write endometriosis for more marks, you can add this point. Okay. That's all for now, guys. In this video, what and all we looked at, can you summarize? We looked at endometriosis basically. So we saw that the endometrial tissue, the glands and the stroma there in sites other than the uterine mucosa, right? And this will be benign and but it will be locally invasive, and cyclic hormones will make this grow, and then it can also shed, right? There can be a lot of pain in these people. So this is this can be abdominal, extra-abdominal, etc. You saw that the retrograde menstruation, Sampson's theory is one of the theory that tried to explain this, the retrograde menstruation. The other theory was metaplasia, that is called as Mayer and Ivanoff's theory, right? Then you saw some lymphatic theory, direct implantation, vascular theory, genetic theory, etc. You saw. Then you saw that environment factors also can affect. Then you saw pathology. Pathology, what did you see? Some chocolate cyst can be there, etc. Clinical features, what did you see? The symptoms, you saw that the patient will be having dysmenorrhea, infertility they can have, right? Dyspareunia, chronic pelvic pain, right? Then what examination you will do? You'll do abdominal examination of the person, you will do pelvic examination of the person, you will come to a diagnosis. How will you diagnose? You will do clinical diagnosis, you will check some serum marker CA-125, you will check for some monocyte chemotactic protein, you will do imaging where CT they like, laparoscopy is gold standard, you saw. Then differential diagnosis, you saw chronic pelvic infection can be a differential, right? Then you can do complication. What will these complications be? These can lead to endocrinopathies. They can rupture, the chocolate cyst can rupture. There can be infection of the chocolate cyst. These can lead to obstruction of your intestine or your ureter, right? And it can very rarely become malignancy. We'll not bother about that. Staging you saw based on where it is and how adherent it is, whether it's superficial or deep. You can give some staging as 1, 2, and 3, and 4, right? And based on the staging, you can decide whether the prognosis is good, what type of treatment to give, and how to give the treatment, etc. What exactly is the treatment you saw? Basically, you want, can you prevent you can prevent by not doing all these patency tests and the pelvic examinations during menstruation or around the menstruation. Then you saw curative, basically there's something called as expectant treatment. So basically you don't want to cause more problem because of the treatment, isn't it? So you should be very careful. You should decide the treatment based on the age of the patient, the fertility, or whether the person wants to have family, more family, etc. All that you should know. How severe is the lesion? How what are the symptoms? How serious are the symptoms, etc. Is there recurrence? All that, based on that you can decide the treatment. Guys, focus. We're looking at the summary. Then you saw that in you can, just for pain relief, you can give this mefenamic acid, etc. Hormonal treatment, you have 3 things to make it pseudo pregnancy kind of situation, or you can have a pseudo menopause, or you can have a medical oophorectomy kind of a thing, where you saw the different drugs also, right? The different drugs will be combined pills, or you can have only progesterone, or you can have IUCDs, you can have danazole for post menopause, pseudo menopause kind of situation, danazole, or gestrinone, okay? Gestrinone. What is the name, guys? Wait, I'll tell you the spelling. It is Gestrinone, okay? None. Gestrinone. This is one of the other options other than danazole, okay? And then we talked about GnRH analogs, okay? Then coming to lastly, we saw the surgical methods. So basically there you saw conservative surgery they want to talk about, especially laparoscopy, where you will do ablation plus adhesiolysis of these lesions. Okay. That's it, guys, in endometriosis. We'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye. Bye.